Okay.
Woo, woo.
We live.
We are live. We are live. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mia Hall, and you are tuned into Brown Girls Glow Live. I am happy to be here with Miss Chavonne LeNoir. I hope I'm saying that right.
LeNoir.
Lenoir, you know what I'm saying? Let me get it correct. But I'm here with Chavonne LeNoir, and I'm just so happy to have my friend on. I miss her. I'm in ATL now,
Ew.
but we met while I was in Los Angeles, so I had to bring her on my Women in Hollywood edition,
Hey, hey.
because that's literally where we met, in Burbank at WB, uh, offices. Oh, actually the CW, but
CW.
WB,
Mm-hmm.
right. But yeah, on that, in that campus in the building, it was so fun over there.
I
Um, but yes. So, Brown Girls Glow Live is a series that's dedicated to showing young women and exposing them to careers in entertainment and beyond, just allowing them to see their full potential, allowing them to see people that might be in positions that they didn't even know exist, or that they didn't think that, people that look like them existed in. So this is what we aim to do with this show. And that's what I'm here to talk to Siobhan about. So
know.
Siobhan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Mia. I love
You're
what you're
welcome.
doing. I love what you're doing. I'm happy to be on this journey with you, talking to young girls. I feel like I'm talking to my younger self at the same time and just giving people the wisdom and knowledge that they need at the time that they need it. Being a blessing
Awesome.
for sure.
Awesome. 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 Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. Well, I just want to say really quickly how I met Siobhan. Like I said, I was, when I moved to LA, I was temping, and I had worked at different companies, and I had, got a temp assignment at the CW, and this was before All American came out. Siobhan and I were there when they were like promoting the first, like
Yeah,
promoting All American before it
pilot,
even
the
came
pilot of
out,
all
man.
American.
The pilot, yes. So, I just remember being in that lobby. I was at the reception area, and I just remember seeing it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about All American. Here to talk about Siobhan, but that's how we initially met. And then, we didn't see each other until we saw each other in church, I believe.
Yeah.
And, just happened to run into Siobhan with our mutual friend, Chinema, who was also on the show.
Also on
But,
the show.
but Chinema and Siobhan went to school together.
Yeah, go Bears.
So go Bears, man. Those Berkeley, man. Those Berkeley Bears, man. So yeah, man. So that was awesome to be able to reconnect with her. And then we, really, prayed together as a part
Yeah.
of LA Women's Prayer Group,
Come on now. Talk about
which I'm a
vision
remote
boards
member.
and everything,
And we did vision boards
Come on, man. We
together.
were serious.
Oh my goodness. And we not only did the vision boards, we followed up, and
Yes.
we kept each other accountable.
Yes.
We went back through it, making
Accountability.
sure
Yes.
accountability. Yes, we had accountability through that. Man, that was a good time. I still remember those times, like, of us creating it and
Yeah.
then following up with it.
Manifestation,
So
man. Manifestation. That is
yes, manifestation for real. And then you go into New York anyway. But yeah, so Siobhan and I, we don't speak all the time, but we speak at like critical times
yes.
in our lives. So I'm just so thankful.
I'm thankful for you so much. You already know that.
Yes, yes, no problem. So I could read your bio, but you know what? I feel like I'm talking so much. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I can fill in.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, head of development for Naomi Osaka's new media company, Hana Kuma, in partnership with LeBron James's company, SpringHill. Uh, I've been a producer and executive for many years now. I've been a trained actor as well, so SAG actor. But I'm an LA girl, born and bred, and grew up in Compton and Gardena, some South Bay, if you know the South Bay. Went to Berkeley for college. Got my degree in sociology, minor in theater and performance studies. So I've always had a soft spot for entertainment. Growing up, I didn't know exactly where I was going to land, but I knew that I for sure was going to be in entertainment in some way and making an impact.
I love it. I love it, man. Wow. So awesome to, learn about your journey. Okay, so yeah, no, you did a good job of
Hey.
describing yourself. uh, but yeah, but it's like, where do you begin with you? So actually let's just start, from the beginning. Um, you know, Growing up, as a young woman, what were some of your biggest dreams?
It's so interesting that you say that because I've always, even from when I could walk, I loved to perform, loved it. And in my fondest memories, I always am performing, right? So my family always jokes around, like from the time I was 2, I was always in the middle of the dance circle, just going hard.
Love
And
it.
people could tell that I was going to be a performer in some way. And I think having that confidence as a dancer and being in dance classes, I also saw myself in front of the camera as well. And your first teachers are your parents, right? We know that. And my dad, he, is also a film buff. And so he would tell me, like, watch The Imitation of Life. That's a classic. And he
Love
was
that
not
movie.
wrong. And it's amazing.
Classic.
And
Amazing.
my mind literally did this. And you remember those moments where film really touches you. And that was the first film that actually it made me lean in to the artwork of film. And then my mom, she oftentimes would go to plays. And so she was the first one to actually take me to my first theater performance at the Pasadena Playhouse. Um, then my aunt also did the same thing. So people were putting seeds in me, just exposing me as much as possible. And I just soaked it all in and realized what I was actually gravitating towards. And it was also like learning about theater, being a part of theater, and being a performer through and through. So that's kind of how it all started with me for the most part. It's just exposure at an early age.
Okay, I love it. I didn't want to be like, I was like, let me mute. I don't want to interrupt the flow. Okay, awesome. So always
Always,
perform
always
and had
performing.
dreams of performing. I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so then, Brown Girls Go, really focused on high school girls and their high school experience. How was your high school experience? And, especially, with your dreams of being a performer, and, preparing for college, like, how was that for you?
Whew, I was serious, Mia. I was a
Okay,
serious
okay,
student. Okay.
okay.
I was not playing any games. I went
Mm,
I went into my freshman year very focused. I knew that I wanted to get into a really great, university. So I, you know, continue to put school first, put, performance first as well. It was my passion, but I was a serious student. Like I remember, this is how much of a geek I am. Being a freshman, and when you're a freshman, you just want to like be social and da, da, da. And I was social too, but I remember moments where I would just be in the library reading Pride and Prejudice because that was way more interesting than just socializing. And I just was like laughing now and looking back at that, but that it's just so me, you know what I mean? In terms of my taste, in terms of entertainment, obviously Pride and Prejudice as a series, as a film, it has so many iterations, but loving the classics, being a sort of like intrigued by the classics early on. I sort of like did everything. I was in sports as well. I was a swimmer. I played volleyball as well. I really love to give back to the community. So I did a lot of volunteer work, and I love to challenge myself as well. So I would also do like AP classes. I would go to community college to take classes. I just really wanted to prove to myself and to not give, well, to prove to myself that I could do it, right? And then also not give a university an opportunity to deny me because I knew that I was capable. And I was able to graduate with a 4.2.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Doing all the things and
All the
still
things.
keeping your grades up, like,
All the
college
things that
courses and
really
all of it.
that I loved. It wasn't just
That's
to
good.
doing just to do it. It was really because I loved giving back to the community. I love to perform, and I really love to sort of like stretch myself as an athlete too. And as an actor, you have to be able to have all these skill sets. You have to
That's true.
be able to, be a basketball player in one scene, be a swimmer in the other, be a dancer in one, have a different language. Like you have to be able to have all these skill sets. So, that just spoke to my actor self and being really intrigued by different sports and opportunities. And also a producer. As a producer, as you know, you're a producer, like you have to be interested in so many different things to keep the pipeline going, right? To be interesting. And I see myself as really well-rounded in that way.
Awesome. I love that. And I love how, nothing is wasted,
Never,
especially
never.
when you're following like things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you did that in high school, killed it.
Well,
Went
actually, I'll tell
on
you, this is funny. This is a funny story. I
uh
was in my first play in high school called Some Like It Hot, based off the MGM classic film. And Jessica Williams went to my high school. Shout out to her. But
nice.
her from so many different things that she's done. But yeah, we went to the same high school, and she was also in that play. So Narbonne's finest.
I love it. I love it. Come on. Ladies just taking over LA. All right. So speaking of the takeover, well, you went from LA to the Bay Area. You went to
Hey.
Berkeley. What made you choose Berkeley?
Obviously the prestige. And really honestly, I'll share this. I don't think I talk about this a lot, but Berkeley also had this Black theater group. And I loved the idea of Berkeley, but I also wanted to go away to college. Truthfully, I saw myself going more to like New York, Columbia, or Howard. But your parents have an influence as well. They're like, you going to Berkeley, crazy girl.
Yep.
So knowing that I wanted to do that, and then also obviously like the Black theater group was intriguing too. So it's like, okay, I'm giving my parents what I want, also, meeting the challenges of, Berkeley as well, but then also like doing the Black theater group. And so freshman year, I get there. The theater group is no more.
Wow.
This,
Wow.
which is why I decided to minor in theater and performance studies. But those two things, the prestige of Berkeley, and also the theater, the performance aspect of it, what it could provide for me. But then I would also add, the Black students. When I was a freshman, or actually a senior in high school, we had this thing where freshman students from different colleges will come and talk to students who are about to apply. And I remember sitting with my friends, and the students at Cal just seemed so amazing. They, were well-rounded. They really, really loved their experience. You could tell. And they had this really special bond. You could tell it wasn't fake. It was like they were really, really good friends. And I felt like I needed to have that type of support, that type of community. And being away from my parents, my family is big out here. We do everything together. And so to be able to leave that safety net, I needed to be able to like know for sure I was going to be okay. And I could
I
just
love that.
their relationship that was real. And so I'm happy to say that it actually is. The Black community at Cal is like unmatched. We are super,
Mm.
super tight. And obviously with Chinema, like that's my girl, always gonna be my girl. It was just, that bubble, just, it was amazing.
I love it. How do you feel like that experience prepared you like for the career you have today?
Um, I think being able to have the various resources that Cal was able to provide, right? Um, it was sort of an experimental sort of moment in my life, right? You have 4 years to, look for a major, graduate, soak up the experience of like different resource groups that are provided to you, volunteer, like you have everything at your footsteps. And I was able to really take advantage of that. I think I could have probably taken advantage a little bit more, I'll be honest. I was really, sort of stuck in the little bubble, like I mentioned before. But I think for what I'm doing now, I'm really tapped into, the multicultural community, being able to really talk about sort of the social environments that matter to people, tapping into what people want to watch, getting really grounded in terms of community. And if Berkeley, Berkeley is all about community, putting community first. And so establishing what my community is and being able to uplift people, bring people up who are, climbing the ladder, put a spotlight on people who are trying to make it as a creative, is all about community. And I think we sort of leaned on each other because we were really just like 2% of the overall student body. And that's not big at all. And so we really truly leaned on each other, and we made it a point to tell each other that, this was a priority. Giving people an opportunity within our group was a priority. And that's how I feel like the Black community is, and that's where we're headed, I feel like even today. But that was a wake-up call for me.
I love it. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Come on, wake up calls.
It
Okay, so
was
I'm like, how do I squeeze everything into this 15 minutes? But I think that what you're doing now is a combination of not only high school, not only college, but of course like what you did post college in your career, whether it's as an actress, whether that's producer, doing short films, you
Yep.
know what I mean? You
Yep.
know, whether it's temporary jobs, whether it's moving, whether it's that, you know what I mean? So how would you say that what was the path that you took to get to being head of development now? Can you just say kind of like in sum, how did you how did you get to where you are today?
I know.
I know. It's a
Most
lot, but let's say
people,
post college. What did you do after college? What did you do? Just take us step by step.
yeah. First of all, I'll just say this before I go through all the steps. It's important to know that it's not just one way to get to the final destination or wherever you're headed, wherever you
That's
see
why I
it.
love hearing everybody's story because it's like so many different
It's
ways.
just so many different ways, and sometimes it can go like this, or it can go like this. And you just never know what your journey is uniquely yours. Period.
Hmm.
But I will say that I knew where I wanted to be. Like, for instance, when you asked me, my first question that you asked me was, what did I see myself being? What were my goals? I just wanted to be the best actress of the 21st century. I wanted to be an EGOT. I wanted to be Oprah. Oprah did it all. I wanted to do it all. She was purposeful. She was impactful. And I felt like if I wasn't on screen, I wanted to be equally impactful behind the screen. And so what does that mean? It meant for me to be a content creator in a way where I was more of a producer. I met a woman, I remember, was like hustling, trying to find a job, right? And I met this woman. She just kind of walked in the room, super powerful. She had her blazer. She just looked like she was running everything. And I was like, what does she do? because I need to ask some questions. And
I
turns out
love that.
he was an independent producer. And everything that she sort of explained to me about what a producer was felt like something that I could do. And I can't really explain that. It's just a knowing. When someone says something and you feel like you're drawn to it or you feel like you could do it. You just have that knowing. And I did in the midst of meeting her for the first time, right? So knowing that, I was like, okay, so then how do I learn more? Right? It's being that producer brain, wanting to ask questions, wanting to get more information. By asking those questions and getting that information, I realized that I needed to be in the corporate executive space. If I wasn't on screen and I wanted to be equally creative behind the screen, that sort of aligned with producing and the corporate level. So my first job was at Disney, and I got that. Started off as a temp assistant, which actually grew into a full-time role in the marketing department for an app that no longer exists, but it was called Disney Movies Anywhere. And it was, it was the first Disney Plus, I would say, having all of the IP on one app. And my job was specifically to market the films that were coming out digitally, and then also curate the digital content that people could sort of explore alongside the film. That was my job. And I would say, okay, that's my foot in the door, right? But how do I get to the creating of television and film? How do I get to that? And so I started to ask senior executives of different companies questions, and they were like, you need to go into development. And so I was like, okay, perfect. I understand that. So, still working, just trying to keep my foot in the door. The app actually ended. I was out of a job at Disney, so I had to get more assistant work. And that first came with CW, and that's how we met, which was, a really eye-opening experience, scripted. Right. I was in current programming. It wasn't quite development, but it was very close. And I was able to work under Tracy Blackwell, who is an amazing executive, and really sort of talked to me as a mentor, Black woman, giving opportunities in her community. This was off the heels of, Ava DuVernay giving Black female directors an opportunity through Queen Sugar. And I remember being Tracy's assistant, and she's saying, like, I need to be able to meet all of these directors. And I was, calling all of them and setting these meetings for them to have another potential opportunity through the CW. And I just remember that. And I said, I want to do that. I want to be able to give back to my community in a way that, helps them to keep creating. And so that was sort of like somebody who really sort of I felt connected to in that way. And then that job led to the WB TV with Odetta Watkins being my boss. And now she's top executive at Amazon. And she really gave me some good game in the industry, what to do, what not to do. And I just felt really grateful to be under her leadership. And then after that, after that opportunity, I got my first foot in the door with development on the unscripted space. And that was at MGM, doing international and domestic, unscripted formats. And this was really fun because I was able to work on shows that are now out. Generation Gap, which is a really fun show. And then also some podcasts with Garcelle Beauvais, which was really amazing as well. It's called Going to Bed with Garcelle. I'll never forget that. We were really shaping up her podcast for the first time, and it was really fun. And then after that opportunity, more came. I was working at Vice in the unscripted world as a manager for the first time. And now I am head of development, so I'm really grateful for all of the different steps. And I know it feels very long-winded, but if you think about what head of development executives do, they're doing everything. And right now, we're trying to grow more and more. And I'm in charge of film, television, scripted, unscripted. I'm doing everything that I've done before and more, and learning, and stretching myself, which is really why I wanted to take this job opportunity, is to be able to do all the things that I love watching and love being able to create. So it's been great.
I love that. I love that. Okay, and then I know that you've written before as well. Like I said, producer of projects and things like that.
Yeah.
What do you feel like is next for you, or like where do you want to go next, or are you really like focused on the now?
Mia, I have always been the type to focus on what's next. Always. I mean, I think that's just the girl being from Compton and, really trying to be my best all the time, striving for what's next. It's just been a part of me. I've always had that hustle, always. And I think right now it's so interesting because I remember, there were people saying that they were head of development or chairman of this, and watching Channing Dungey do her thing, and, thinking that, wow, okay, could I even get to that level? And for me, it's like I never expected to get here so fast. I'll be honest, I never expected to get here so fast. But I always strove for what I felt like I deserved. And even as an assistant, I knew that wasn't going to be the end. I knew that I deserved to be a top level executive. So I strove for that. I know that I want to be a great actress, and I will continue to strive for that. But for now, I think I'm really loving what I'm doing with Hana Kuma. I love being able to create in so many different spaces. We just came out with a children's book called The Way Champs Play, and I got to have impact on that. And I never thought I would be able to do something like that before. I was just screening my short film along with Breakwater Studios. Ben Proudfoot, he won an Academy Award recently. And so being able to partner with him on Mink, shedding light on Patsy Mink, who's the first Congresswoman of color. And her story is just now coming out, but mainly because we pushed for her story in our short film. Being able to screen that at the US Capitol, that's not something you would ever really think you could do. Having, then Speaker Pelosi, do opening remarks for a film you did, like, the things that have happened
Amazing.
at these past few months are sort of unthinkable, and they're happening at rapid speed. And I think it's because God has that dream for me, and I'm just living it out for him. And so I'm being purposeful. I'm trying to be as present as I possibly can. My energy has always been, what's next, what's next, what's next. I'm trying to just slow it down and enjoy it, and be as purposeful as Tracy Blackwell, as purposeful, even as the other executives that introduced me to, being a producer, right? The very first producer I met, that was a Black woman, like tapping into her, tapping into, my younger self, who loves theater, still loves theater, still wants to be a part of it. But just being able to enjoy the moment is my priority.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you know what I mean. Coming to a close on this, I just want to. I usually ask people, what advice would they give their 16-year-old selves, but I actually really always like to ask, what's the best piece of advice they've received? So what's the best piece of advice that you've received that you would also give to your 16 years old?
um Again, always for me, my natural instinct is to just like think, what's next, who can I meet next to get me to my next opportunity. But I would give the advice to really sort of network across, and that has been tremendously helpful. As I have been an actor in so many different acting classes, I'm working with the same people, even the position that I'm in now, trying to get them on as my camera guy or a writer, or even considering them as an actor for a film that I'm producing. Those same people that you meet years ago will come back again. And I think it's just in our best interest to help each other however we can. And it's just so funny too, because the same actors that I was auditioning with are now people who are on major networks. And like, it's so funny because they're like, do you want to take a meeting with this person? I'm like, I know this person. Like we used to audition together. That's hilarious. So I would say network across. I would also say get out of your comfort zone. Get out of it as much as you can. It's so funny because my old acting coach, Dustin Felder, may he rest in peace. He would say like, fear can also act as your friend, as a way to really protect you. But if you go against that and you really lean into what you feel is your purpose, put fear aside and just do what you have to do. Because I remember the moments where I was most afraid, I actually impressed myself the most. So sometimes the opposite can happen when you just lean into it, get across it, and overcome. So I would say, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your way, and also network with the people who are coming up with you.
I love it. I love it. Love it. I knew I was gonna love it. Of course. That's why I invited you in here. Man, like I said, I already miss you. And I just thank you so much for coming on this show. Sharing your story, sharing your journey so that people can know, it's not always a straight line. You know what I mean? Like you're going to have a road that might take you windy, you might go to different paths, but you keep on going and you'll continue to manifest, like you said, and accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, especially your biggest dreams. So, and even beyond that, in a faster time,
Hey,
as you talked about. So, in a faster time than you thought. So, and God is just getting started with you.
just
So,
getting started. Isn't
um,
that crazy?
yes. So, I love to see it. Can't wait to catch up even more.
Yeah.
For everybody that's watching, y'all follow at Chavonne LeNoir on social media, and make sure that you share this broadcast with a young girl, or a woman, or a man, anybody that needs inspiration. But thank you for joining us. We will see y'all next time on Brown Girls Glow Live. Until then, keep elevating.
That's right.
Love you,
Thank you.
Chavonne.
Love you too.
All right.